Hi, everyone. Welcome to weeks 5 and 6. We are going to talk about AI for data analysis in special education and AI for assessment. We are going to continue our use with ChatGPT, but I'm also going to introduce 3 additional data analysis tools: Pair Assessment, Brightbytes, and Otis. So you will have directions on your sheet on just playing around with the sample data that are involved within each of these tools. And I'm giving you some sample data to explore with ChatGPT. But I want to start off first with just kind of some general information about data analysis utilizing AI. So understanding obviously the importance of data. And I think for many of you, right, if you are a resource room teacher, you might not be taking as much data as maybe you wish you were able to. For some of you, depending on your settings, you might be taking so much data you don't even know where to start to begin to analyze it. But really, data is the backbone of special education, and really thinking about, any IEP that you're writing or any support that you are providing for a student. How are you then going to use data to justify what you are doing and why you are doing it? And it really informs us and guides us. So you're also within this step going to be reading an article about kind of the impact of using AI for database decision making within schools at like a higher district level, which again is important to put into context around the bias that some of the AI might be putting forward. So again, the challenge is just the amount of time that we have to collect data and how to effectively analyze and utilize it. And that is where AI can support us. AI can process data quickly and offer insights. I will say that I have used a lot of AI tools to support some of my qualitative or transcript coding or transcription, and to just kind of get some high level summaries, and it's been really helpful. So here's the overview of some of the tools. So the first one is going to be Pair Assessment. This tool is kind of an add-on to Pear Deck. Many of you might have been familiar with Pear Deck during the pandemic. We used a lot of it. So this is designed to offer dynamic and personalized assessments. So it does require you, right, to like use Pear Deck for your assessments, and then the assessments are analyzed within the Pair Assessment tool. It will track student performance over time and adjust recommendations based on your data output. You will see within week 5 and 6, we are going to be focusing on a student named Jamie, and Jamie has specific areas of support. And so for each of these, this is kind of showing and outlining how this particular tool will support Jamie, who I'm going to move my box here. Okay, so for example, Pair Assessment, when it comes to Jamie specifically, can help to identify specific areas of support and need and suggest targeted interventions. The next tool is Brightbytes. So kind of as we go through, I will say that each of these tools is kind of supporting a larger environment. So Brightbytes does educational data analysis, and it uses educational data to predict student success and identify risk factors. So for example, at the university, we have some pretty advanced AI tracking where we lead back to kind of different predictors for student success or graduation rate. So for example, at Southern, there are some specific gateway courses, some initial math courses, some initial English courses that, based on large amounts of data, then predict if a student receives below a C in this class, right, here's the likelihood that they will not graduate. Whereas if a student gets a C or above in this class, here's the percentage or likelihood that they will graduate. So Brightbytes, which is like many other kind of large data tools, will help predict some trends. So again, this is helpful for tracking the broader impact of interventions across schools or districts. So Brightbytes is beyond just one classroom. It's looking at, again, those trends. So here, when we think about Jamie, it can help for understanding a group of students, right? Some other particular predictors of success or challenges. The next one is Otis. So Otis combines assessment, data tracking, and learning management into one platform. And so this one, Otis, is kind of like in the middle between, sorry, I had them out of order. Otis is in the middle, so it does predict some classroom, and it provides options for parent engagement as well, which the other ones do not have that. So here, Otis will help Jamie to integrate his academic and behavioral data into a single, easy-to-use platform. I know that they are promoting or advertising a single-use platform, but that also is something that can be really challenging as teachers, right? Is how many different platforms do we have, from PowerSchool to Google Classroom, to then adding another data management tool. For some of you, you might be using Catalyst for data collection. So it's just kind of adding a tool. So it's nice that Otis is kind of advertising that it's a single platform, but the reality is, right, for many schools and districts, there are multiple platforms that teachers still need to account for. So again, here's Jamie, I'm going to move myself here. So I will have more information linked on our kind of guiding document for the week, but here's a general Jamie. He's 7 years old in second grade. He has an ADHD and a specific learning disability in reading and writing, and he has reading struggles, behavioral challenges, but his strengths are in math. So we are going to take some fictitious data about Jamie, and then unfortunately, because Otis, Bright Bites, and Pear Assessment are all paid devices, even in the free trial versions, you don't get like a good look. So in the guiding document here, I'm gonna pull that over now. Okay. Within the guiding document for this week, there are step-by-steps for exploring each of the different tools. And again, unfortunately, because these tools do require payment, you can't really kind of add data easily, and especially beyond Pear Assessment, Otis and Bright Bites are working with a larger data set, which would take way too long to kind of do a fake one. So what I really want you to do is just to log into each of these sites and explore the existing sample data that they have. So here is Pear Assessment. So again, it gives you step-by-step guides on selecting a sample classroom, right? And kind of look at the sample classroom, the assessment types, and then you have a reflection question down here. So you're gonna have a reflection question after each of these explorations. Here's Otis. So I do want you to try, Otis, sorry, Bright Bites is the one that you might need to wait. So dive into the assessment, right? Reflect and compare. And then here's Bright Bites. So you want to start the free trial. And so that's the goal there, is then you're going to look at the sample data, right? Or demo dashboard, explore the different modules, look at any risk analysis reports. So kind of really play around. And again, you're going to submit the reflect and compare. And then finally here, your last one is I want you to use ChatGPT for data analysis. And so I will have a link here. I don't have it up yet, with all of Jamie's data. So it will analyze Jamie's data. And what I have for you is I just want you to practice keeping personal identifying information safe. So even though Jamie is a made-up student, I would still like you to use a pseudonym like Student A for him, just because I want you to get used to protecting student data. So here, there's the summarizing data, and then you will have the actual raw data that you can upload into ChatGPT as well. So here again, you want to structure that data. You'll log into ChatGPT, you'll do a new chat. And so here you're kind of going to enter in the data. You're going to ask for analysis, read it carefully, consider the suggested interventions. Feel free to push it if you would like to, ask it follow-up questions. How do I continue to collect data? So again, ask follow-up questions, customize the plan, You can ask it to write the final plan. So I really want you to push Chat GPT. And again, kind of really be thinking about comparing these 4 tools all together. So you'll reflect and compare with Chat GPT. And again, I'm going to keep hammering this home. I know I've said this a gazillion times, but I will continue. Ensure that you are inserting anonymous data. Critically evaluate the AI suggestions, because as we know from week 1, it will hallucinate and it can kind of fabricate some information. So you always want to use your professional judgment. It's not a replacement for your expertise and experience, but is a supplemental tool. So then finally here, what I would like you to do is compare the tools. So given the 4 tools that you experienced, so peer assessment, Bright Bites, Otis, and ChatGPT, kind of reflect. How was it easy to navigate tool? Did any of them particularly stand out? If you would choose one, which one would you choose? So those are your reflection questions here based on the data collection. So there's Jamie. And again, I will link to kind of some of the raw data for Jamie as well. Oops. And again, thinking about ethical considerations, right? Being mindful and protective of student data. I am working with a school right now that even considers data taken on a student, even if it is anonymous, to still be personal identifying information. So you do also kind of want to think about that. Always also thinking about algorithmic bias. So the potential for bias in AI algorithms when it comes to data collection. So it is important to really think about, again, going back to, you need to use your professional judgment and that human oversight, because it could have this inherent bias about, children who are consistently suspended, right? If that's the kind of data that you're putting into it. And think about the future potential, right? If we can integrate AI meaningfully within our classrooms and our practice, and it helps with data analysis, it could, again, give us some more cognitive space as educators, as professionals, to then really teach or to act and do our craft. Data analysis is important, but I can't tell you how much time I spend kind of taking raw data and then converting it into a space where I can then compare the trends and understanding, well, if my students do well on this part of this assessment, it correlates with how well they did in this class. So I spend a lot of time looking, and people in my department do as well. And if we then did have some sort of AI to support us with data analysis, we could then focus our energy and time on, well, now what do we do, right? Based on this information, how are we changing our behavior? And I find that even in my job, right, we're spending so much time manipulating the raw data that we don't really have enough time to look at the trends or analyze it the actual way we want to, because the raw data takes so long to analyze. So there's so much potential here when we look at AI for data analysis. All right. And that's it. So I'm really looking forward to your responses here and thinking about how AI can support data analysis.